Welcome to the Healthy Sleep Revolution, where we explore the frontiers of sleep science and medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Meghna Dasani, and today we are diving deep into a fascinating topic that affects every single one of us: chronotypes. If you've ever wondered why you're most productive at midnight, while your partner springs out of bed at dawn, or why your teenager seems to live in a completely different time zone, this episode is for you. Let's start by dispelling a common myth. Being a night owl or an early bird isn't a choice. It's deeply rooted in your biology. For years, we've oversimplified chronotypes into just two categories, but recent research reveals that it's far more complex. Your chronotype is essentially your body's natural preference for timing of sleep and alertness. Think of it as your internal time zone. It's influenced by a combination of numerous factors. It could be genetic, age, environmental cues, hormonal patterns, and even evolutionary adaptations. Now, fascinating new research from the University of Munich has identified not just two, but four distinct chronotypes. The first one are the bears. This is the most common type, right? It follows the solar day. You wake up in the morning, go to bed at night, just what most of us think is normal. Then you have the lions. These are your early risers with peak performance in the morning. The third one are wolves. They are evening people who come awake or alive at night. And then the last one are the dolphins. They are light sleepers with irregular sleep patterns. Now let's explore what actually is happening in your body. Your chronotype is basically controlled by two main systems. First is your circadian rhythm, which is your internal 24-hour clock. This system is regulated by a tiny region in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or the SCN. Think of it as your body's master timekeeper. And then second, there is sleep pressure, which is the build-up of sleep-promoting compounds in your brain, primarily adenosine. The interplay between these systems is what creates your unique sleep and wake pattern. Recent genetic studies have identified that there are several genes which are associated with chronotype. And allow me to get a little bit geeky here. Some of these genes include the PER3 and the clock, CLOCK. Variations in these genes can shift your internal clock up to 4 hours earlier or later than average. Now, one of the most fascinating aspects of chronotypes is how they change throughout our lives. Let me walk you through a typical progression. Infants have multiple sleep periods throughout the day. Then young children are generally early birds. Teenagers, we tend to see a dramatic shift towards evening preference. Adults then have a gradual shift back towards morning preference. And the elderly soon often return to earlier sleep and wake patterns. This explains why forcing teenagers to wake up early for school goes against their biological programming. They're not just being difficult. In fact, schools that have shifted to a later start time actually report improved attendance, better grades, and fewer behavioral problems. So how can you work with your chronotype instead of fighting against it? There are some evidence-based strategies. These are also ones that I tend to incorporate within my patients' treatment plans, trying to come up with a more ideal, customized solution. Number one is always just try to identify your type. Track your natural sleep patterns on free days. Note your energy peaks throughout the day. Observe your natural meal preferences. Then the next step would be to align your schedule. Scheduling important tasks during your peak alertness hours. Planning exercise when your body temperature is highest. And then time your meals according to your metabolic peaks as well. And then number 3 would be to manage light exposure. Morning light for early types, evening light for the later types, and then strategic light exposure we know that can help to shift your schedule as well. So remember, fighting your natural chronotype is like swimming upstream. It's possible, but gosh, is it exhausting. Instead, try to negotiate a flexible work hour, if possible, not always for everybody. Structure your days around your energy peaks and be consistent with your sleep schedule. Gosh, I cannot stress this enough, even on weekends. So before we wrap up, let's address some special situations. Top one being shift work. If you must work against your chronotype, use strategic light exposure and scheduled naps to help your body adjust. Different chronotypes can strain relationships. Very real. Communication and compromise are key. Make sure you're both creating overlap times for connection while respecting each other's natural patterns. When you're traveling, make sure that you understand your chronotype because this can help you plan better for jet lag management. It's important to remember your chronotype is not a character flaw or a bad habit. It's a fundamental part of your biology. Understanding and working with it can dramatically improve the quality of your life, productivity, your health. In our next episodes, we will explore how sleep affects your immune system, particularly in light of recent research. So make sure you tuned in. Until then, this is Dr. Meghna Dasani reminding you that quality sleep isn't just about how long you sleep. It is also about working with your body's natural rhythms. If you know somebody that could benefit from this information, make sure to share this episode with them. And as always, hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. Until next time, here's to healthy sleep. Goodbye.